Hi friends. This video is going to be both an introduction to as well as an invitation to the meditation course that I offer and teach. Meditation, of course, means many different things to many different people, and I would venture to say that whatever it means for you is what it can be and will be in your life. Some people use meditation to be a better athlete. Some people use meditation to focus more clearly at work. Some people use meditation to calm the mind. These are not wrong uses of meditation. But for me, and I'd like to explain and describe a little bit of what meditation is for me so that you can feel out if it's a right fit for you to work in the particular style and approach that I do. Meditation is kind of threefold. One, it's a skill that you can get better at, cultivate your ability in, and even master. The skill, in very basic terms, is to be able to maintain lucid, conscious, mindful awareness in all states of consciousness, or all brainwave patterns and frequencies. In other words, the same states of consciousness that we go through every 24 hours in waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, particularly dreaming and deep sleep, it's very possible to access an awakeness or an awareness even when the body, and you might even say the mind, is sleeping or dreaming or in deep sleep mode. So imagine if you could be wide awake or wide aware, as I like to say sometimes, while you're asleep in bed. But in this case, meditation is the ability to do that, to take your brain to another state of consciousness, another wave pattern, i.e. dreaming or deep sleep, and many subtle variations in between, but while you're sitting up in a meditative posture. Some people even report that after training themselves in meditation for long enough, that even begins to slip over into the nighttime hours when you're lying down in bed. And there's a whole other interior domain and world to explore and discover and navigate. This exterior world is not the quote-unquote only real world. It's just the exterior world of your experience. So there are many profound and amazing and beautiful and fun and adventuresome experiences to be had in the interior during meditation states. So that ability can be cultivated. It's a skill that you can get really good at. And then see where it takes you. And there are techniques and tools, just like any other skill you want to get good at, that I can teach you. And they're very simple. Secondly, meditation has always been and is for me a deeply devotional practice. By that I mean, it is a direct access, a direct channel or portal to God or spirit or the hologram or your higher self. because when you're in those meditative states, your ego mind, your personality self, is typically put to sleep, we might say. And yet, there is an awareness. There is an I amness. There is a presence. There is a clear, verifiable, undeniable sense that you are still there. And that you are somehow even closer to the source, or closer to God, if you will, than in that normal egoic waking mind. Of course, paradoxically, you can never be closer to God. You can just realize that you're already one with God or not. And meditation itself assists in that process as well. In the Zen tradition, they call enlightenment a happy accident, because you can never predict how or when it might occur. Somebody who's been practicing for all their life, it could suddenly appear. Or somebody who's never even sat on a meditation cushion, or done a single yoga pose, or read a single scriptural text, could spontaneously combust into what we might call enlightenment. So it's a happy accident, they say. However, they say meditation makes you more accident prone. So what do I mean even by enlightenment? That word itself kind of gets tossed around and misunderstood. It's not attainable, or on the other hand, everybody's already enlightened, or it's an outdated word. Enlightenment, for me, means something not so different from what the word yoga means, which is to connect or to unite, to be one with. So enlightenment is to discover oneness with your own self, oneness with the transcendent principle, aka God, Spirit, hologram, oneness with your higher self, and what that even means, oneness with others, oneness with the world. In a broad brushstroke, that's what enlightenment means for me. Full-on realization and recognition of that. And meditation makes you more prone to be able to see and know that. What's more, the kind of prayers that I was taught to pray as a child, very verbal and mental, if you will, talking to a God that's separate or outside of you, simply began to not really produce the feeling or the fruit that it promised or that it had in the past. And so when I discovered meditation, this kind of wordless, contemplative posture where Kemper, or the ego, can literally go away, be put to rest, so that that which is left can come through more clearly, felt like falling back into God's lap. Now, of course, you have to have a positive interpretation of what that even means. Falling back into God's lap for some of you might seem scary because of conditioning and wounding and childhood religious trauma or whatnot. But for me, because of my devotional disposition toward God in the first place, this was a way to pray, this was a way to connect, this was a way to be one in communion with the source, the sustainer, the life force, the very essence of this existence. So 1, it's a skill. 2, it's a devotional practice. 3, it's a profound healing tool, healing art, if you will. Every trauma or drama, as I like to say, or in Sanskrit they call it samskara, which is some kind of unresolution still existing in your system somewhere, from early in childhood, from teenage heartbreak, from car accident, from something in utero, from school years, from past life, from just yesterday. If it's unresolved, it still exists in your system somewhere. Meditation, once you've learned the skill of maintaining conscious awareness in those other spaces, the interior domain, as well as learned how to develop a relationship and surrender into God or spirit or something beyond yourself, then the combination of those two things profoundly impact and exponentiate and catalyze the healing aspect of meditation. So calming of the mind and the nervous system definitely comes as a byproduct. But just like body work, if it's done well, or yoga if it's done well, or other plant medicines if they're done well, have kind of a purging component to them too, where it's not just magically everything's better again. Same thing happens in meditation. When you're putting yourself in that kind of liminal zone, where there's no longer a pressure cooker or suppression or avoidance or ignorance in the literal sense, ignoring of those subpersonalities, those what I call nexus knots, those samskara, they're literally able to be brought more to the conscious mind, to that light of awareness, or in Sanskrit what they call Purusha, or simply God. Do you think any of your traumas, any of your wounding, any of your baggage can stand a chance before the light of the Creator, the Sustainer, the Healer of all things? But it requires your cooperation, and there's some intensity that can come along with it. Which is why I feel very responsible for walking with you through this process. For myself, not only have I, quote unquote, mastered the skill of meditation, and just because I've mastered it doesn't mean I don't have more work to do in it to get even better at it, for sure. It's a never-ending, unfolding, ongoing process. But also, I have discovered, realized, rooted into my own oneness with life, oneness with God, oneness with the intimate, immanent details of myself as a human, and oneness with the transcendent, that which is beyond me. Oneness with myself as the light of awareness itself. Oneness with myself as the source of all things, the source of the world arising. And in the healing category, meditation and the other components that I teach in this meditation course assisted immensely in the healing of mental illness in my past, coming off of pharmaceuticals, releasing and integrating a bunch of locked up energy patterns, and healing pretty severe addictive behaviors. All of this from meditation, self-inquiry, and what I call the 5 basics, which you'll learn as you embark on this course. So I wouldn't be teaching this if it didn't change my life first. And I only teach that which I have assimilated into my own being and which has worked for me. And it just so happens to be lucky that it's kind of a universal thing, because the template that I've laid out in this course has already worked on many others for the skill, the devotion, and the healing. So I have 33 videos in this course. I think 5 guided meditation audios in this course. And for those who really show commitment, dedication, and good resonance with the way I teach, I also have a workbook, which is a 30-day process. It's kind of like if you do a 30-day juice cleanse or a 30-day some other kind of diet, if you will. That when you're ready for it, and I've actually learned out the gate, for some people it's way too much to give them that at the beginning. So what I'd like to offer you is either the full package course just sent to you, 33 videos plus 5 audios, along with this video, of course, to give you a little orientation if that's the option you choose, or to work with me on a week-by-week, month-by-month basis where I will kind of guide you along these videos and audios, and we'll have regular check-ins with each other. So either give it to you all at once and you can go at your own pace, or step by step and I'll hold your hand and we'll go through it together based on what's coming up for you. But that's also why I feel very responsible to at least be in touch in this way, because once you embark on the path of meditation, at least the way I teach it and understand it and explain it and has been in my life, lots of shadowy stuff, lots of ego stuff, lots of purging, lots of backlash can and will happen at whatever pace is appropriate for you based on what you got going on, based on your commitment to it. And it does require commitment. It's not just a casual thing. Again, if it was another field, another teacher, another system, listening to binaural beats or a podcast, then maybe it could just be to calm and relax the mind, because that's where that particular teacher is coming from. Or if that's the only thing that you want out of it, perhaps that's all you'll get out of it. But if you work with me, if you're in this morphic field of these videos and these audios and the Kaliana field, as Christy and I call it, then it will ask of you some more commitment, but it will also bring more fruit, more reward, more results in the skill of mastering this, in devotional practice, connecting and communing with higher aspects of ourself and life and God, and also healing aspects. Literally changing the patterns in your neurochemistry, in your body-mind, in your samskaras, in your past life, in your energy field, from this life, etc. So this is one reason why I don't just throw out a bunch of things without the connection of tethering you to me. And you are tethered to me if we're working together in this way. I don't just throw out a bunch of guided meditations. I don't just throw out a bunch of videos if you're not working with me, because I care deeply that when those things come up, or when you have difficulty with the technique, or when you have questions about spirituality, that I'm able to answer them. I think of yoga in a similar way, but I'm a little more okay with letting you practice yoga kind of just on your own at your own pace. But with this, the voltage is so high, the potential is so great, and our wounding is so deep, in fact, that I'd like to at least stay connected. So, if you're approaching this by just getting the full course yourself, then a quick kind of suggestion. When you're meditating, start with one or two of the guided audio meditations that come with the course. And then get accustomed to which of the techniques that are taught in them kind of fits you comfortably, that you resonate with, that's pretty easy for you to access. And in between times of listening to the guided audio, then sometimes don't listen to the guided audio. Because relying only on guided audio all the time will be kind of like relying on a personal trainer at the gym and never learning how to take yourself through a workout. Or just going to yoga classes and blindly doing what you're told without any understanding or comprehension, and without being able to take yourself through a yoga practice, to take responsibility for your own body and process. So similarly here, I want you to be able to cultivate that interior muscle without relying on the guided meditation, without relying on me, without relying on plant medicine, without relying on binaural beats. So I highly recommend meditating every day, 10, 20, 30 minutes, at least once, if not twice a day. And I recommend just a comfortable seated position like this. I'm sitting in what's called a backjack chair now, and I can send you the link for backjack chairs and you can get them on your own. Also, just a comfy chair, a recliner would be fine, but don't recline it. I also recommend not to lie down. You don't have to be in any fancy lotus position, but just be comfortable. Cross leg or not, doesn't matter. But upright, preferably. And then I recommend watching 2 or 3 of the videos in the course of 33 that I'm going to give you every week, alongside your meditating. And then move to another of the guided audio meditations until you've listened to all of it, and then you can kind of have your own practice and routine eventually. And you can graduate from the course. If you want to work with me, then we'll have an initial free consultation. I want to send you a couple of free videos and a free guided audio meditation so that you can check it out. And if you're interested, if you like it, then we'll have a chat. If you're in Crestone, or wherever I currently am geographically, then we can meet in person. If you're not, then we can meet online. And after that, based on where you're at, based on what you can afford, based on your commitment, how eager you are, then we'll make a plan for going through the course together and having regular check-ins. If you're doing the course on your own and still would like to check in with me because something came up or you have a question, then you can reach out and we'll have a session. It'll be at whatever the going rate of my current privates are. I strongly believe that this work, when it's genuine, should not be done for money. I have way too many spiritual teachers doing this for money, rich and famous. And at the same time, I strongly believe that money should never be an obstacle for working with me if you really want to and are truly supposed to. Therefore, after our first conversation, I'll ask you to do some soul searching, come up with a combination between what you can afford and what this work is worth to you, based on what plan we laid out. If we want to have a weekly session or every other week or monthly check-in. Meanwhile, I'm giving you your kind of breadcrumb trail of videos to watch and questions to ask and things to consider and meditations to do. So it really puts the responsibility back in your court, where you can decide, this is what I can afford right now, but looking at everything else that I spend money on, actually, this is worth far more than that to me, so I can get rid of that and get rid of that and get rid of that and be able to offer more over here. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm offering. But there's a lot more where that came from. And especially now, the times that we're living in, we need this more and more. Not only the skill of presence of mind and to be able to navigate whatever state of consciousness, but also devotion, trust, surrender to something greater than ourselves. And finally, healing. We really need it. And I promise you it works. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I've been wanting to make this video for some time for people who ask, what is this meditation thing that you teach? What is meditation all about for you? So I wanted to make an invitation as well as an introduction. And again, this has barely scratched the surface, but if anything that I've said has struck a chord, sparked your interest, either the skill of mastery or oneness, enlightenment, or healing, then please reach out with any questions you may have. And I'd be honored to be your guide for as long as necessary on this journey. Take care. Much love. Namaste.